but that guy was clearly trying to push the denomination in an egalitarian direction.
Yeah.
And I thank God that somebody in Texas said, hey, no.
Right. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Contra Talk here from the Fight Laugh Feast. I've got quite a few conversations. I've been able to talk to quite a few people. I'm talking to Jeff Wright. You might remember him from another episode I did a number of months ago from the SBC there in Anaheim. Jeff is a pastor in Tennessee in Cookeville.
That's correct.
Cookeville, right? And you also run Twitter, or you're part of the SBC Underground on Twitter.
Yep.
And so he's very much, I think I'm in the know, but Jeff's really in the know. So welcome again, show. Welcome to the show. How you doing?
Well, thanks for having me. I'm doing well. It's good to see you again. And this is a much more pleasant place for us to meet up than the last time we did.
I think so too, yeah.
It's probably just that I'd rather be here. I can put up with Toby talking about Baptists and trainees much more than I can people, manipulating the voters in SBC.
Yeah. There's going to be a vote. You better get in there.
Yeah, I'll take one
via
over
Twitter.
The other.
Yeah, people. Anyway, so it's been 4 months. We have Adam Greenway is no longer the president of Southwestern, which is pretty big news.
And I think that good-hearted Southern Baptists of right-mindedness should see that as a win. I think they should see that as a good thing. Nobody wants to root for somebody to be fired, but that guy was clearly trying to push the denomination in an egalitarian direction.
Yeah.
And I thank God that somebody in Texas said, hey, no. Right. So praise the Lord for that.
Yeah. Well, he was said to churches can accept the 63 or the 2,000 Baptist.
Right. And
which is ridiculous.
That's a dead giveaway of what your project is, man. That's a dead giveaway.
Right. Yeah, no, for sure. So he's gone. O.S. Hawkins, right? He's interim right now.
And David Dockery. They're tag team. And Dockery did a phenomenal job while he was at Union University.
Okay.
I only know him as, from a distance, but as a Tennessee Baptist, I was thrilled with Union under his tenure. And so, again, here I'm
Union's in Franklin, right?
Jackson.
A little
bit farther
Tennessee.
west.
That's right.
So I've just got my fingers crossed that this is going to be awesome.
Yeah. All right. So he's out. Bart Barber is not really doing anything great. You have any updates for the people who are not paying attention as close as you are? Like, it's still the abolition and pro-life, and what's going on there?
Yeah, so in my estimation, Bart, who I had very low expectations for, has actually managed to be worse than I expected. And it really does center on, it's two things. He recently did an interview with national media where he said addressing the sex abuse crisis is the number one priority of his tenure, okay?
Wow.
And so they've not even done it's been a rhetorical pace job to even say that we have a crisis, if you think statistically and percentage-wise.
By the numbers, is it really a crisis?
Yeah.
Is it bad? Sure, it's always bad. But is it a crisis?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right. So we want to be good stewards and we want to protect people, but whether or not we're in crisis is very much up for debate on the raw data.
Mm-hmm.
So that's his number one priority, which may not be an important failure in Southern Baptist life.
Yeah.
Number two, I think in part because the abolitionists embarrassed him as the head of the resolutions committee in Anaheim. They pushed through their resolution. Bart has become fixated on them, and it's the least. I'm trying to restrain my rhetoric here. It's the least thoughtful version of what you could possibly say about pro-life. He continues to come back to these uninformed criticisms based on ectopic pregnancies. Every abolitionist immediately says, read our bills, we account for it, here's screenshots. Bart never deviates from that because, in my read, he knows this is an effective rhetorical angle for his party.
Yeah.
But it can't stand up to scrutiny. So he can never acknowledge that it's empty. He just has to keep repeating it, hoping people don't look into it.
Yeah.
It's so unthoughtful.
It's kind of, just deflection.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
So we should have voted in Tom Askell, and we're reaping the fruit of not doing so.
Yeah. So obviously, and I say this, and it's, not like many people are listening to me necessarily, but besides going to the convention, and this is kind of, we're doing the same thing here. We got podcasts and this and that. There's not voting going on, because this isn't a denomination. What we're doing here at Fight Laugh Feast, it's just, hey, the Bible, Christ is King, et cetera, et cetera. What can people do? I mean, besides going to the convention or sending their pastor, which I commend people. I tell people, hey, send your pastor and his wife, or send your pastor and another deacon, elder, something, and get them there. Take the money that you would have given the cooperative program and spend a couple grand and give your pastor there. I mean, it's in New Orleans. It's close for a lot of people.
Should be much more convenient.
Yeah.
And you're playing there. Tom Askell's very much on board with you. Tom Askell has said very much the same thing. Like, if you're going to be
I might be stealing it from him.
Well, fine minds think alike in my book. If you're going to be giving to missions through this thing, you better be sending somebody to steward the missions through this thing. And so spend your missions budget in part on making sure it's being spent well.
Yeah. So besides going to the convention, which, some people can't do, or I'm work, tired, whatever. Tired, that's not a good one. But what else can people do? I mean, what do you see is effective, or what if you, like you said off air, if you had the keys to the kingdom, if you had your say, what would you want the average Southern Baptist, or even, I mean, there's PCA people here. There's I never remember.
Well, there's CREC is kind
CREC,
of
that's what it is.
their group. I met an evangelical Anglican pastor here, so this is a fairly ecumenical group, all things considered.
Yeah. So people watching that are part of that, or just, hey, I'm non-denominational.
Yeah.
What can they do? What should they be doing?
Well, seriously, pray for the Southern Baptist Convention, because, again, I'm going to crib from Tom Askell. The Southern Baptist Convention is not essential, but it is important.
Right.
We're a large fish in the evangelical pool, right? Like, we need a healthy Catholic church, not because we think Catholics are, doctrinally with us, and we have real major issues with them, but we need them for the good of our neighbor, right? It matters when Catholics show up and vote against pro-abortion bills and things like that.
Yeah.
Well, similarly, evangelicals should want a healthy Southern Baptist Convention for the collective weight that they bring to the table. A smaller version of that is why I'm rooting for the PCA, and I'm trying to encourage every PCA pastor I know.
Yeah.
Hey guys, stay in the fight with Revoice. We need a healthy PCA. We're not going to agree on who's being baptized or whose head is getting wet, but we're going to end up in the kingdom together in eternity. And right now, we need you to help make life good for our neighbors here and make America and even the West globally a place where the gospel can be preached in freedom. So pray. I think every Christian should pray. Number two, and this is going to come back more specifically to people who have some relationship to the SBC, but local. Your church, your elder board, or whoever your pastor is, but then also your local association and your state association.
Okay.
Now, I'm blessed. We have a great local association, and our DOM is wonderful. Our church is highly informed about the SBC. And I honestly don't know that there's a plan to fix the SBC that's going to be built on beating the people who control the platform at the annual meeting at the point of the platform. They know it's coming. They have resources in place. I mean, you saw Ed Litton. Every time someone got up and said the word plagiarism, he effectively said, and a couple times explicitly said, cut the mic off.
Yeah.
They know it's coming. They know the game book. And so I'm thinking, how do we run an end around? And I'm persuaded, local stuff. Your pastor ought to be informed about the SBC.
Yeah.
He ought to know your perspective on it. And then you should be after him to make this an issue in the local association. So if the nation goes crazy, your local association is where it's going to matter for you, right? That's where you live.
Right.
So you want to have good brothers lined up there. And the state conventions are the ones who are going to feel churches like mine who are disconnected from the SBC and don't know that we want to support them.
Yeah.
Our giving goes to the nation, the national convention, through the state. So when we cut off giving to the national, the state's going to feel it first.
Right.
They don't have the huge nest egg. And so your contacts with the state convention should be in their ear. They should know there's a constituency that is activated and paying close attention, and they have a real accountability to.
Yeah.
So those would be the things I would recommend. Everybody, please pray. And then for those of you who have ties to the SBC, get involved at the local level as much as you possibly can. And let's see if we can't kind of grassroots it that way.
Yeah. Besides SBC Underground, what aren't you part of a website too? Servants and Heralds, right?
Yeah. So
Okay.
Servants and Heralds is sort of a banner that SBC Underground has slotted under.
Okay.
And we have a simple tagline: we're getting up to stuff. We want to encourage people who are trying to do good things to impact the kingdom, right?
Okay.
So people who are starting businesses, people who are starting classical schools, people who are getting involved in local government. We want to be a place for people like that to get resources, to get energized, to get encouraged. And so anybody listening, if that sounds interesting, you reach out to me, because we would love to meet new authors and hear about new projects that we can help put eyes on. We'd love to do that.
Yeah. And what, just servantsandheralds.com?
Yeah.
Okay.
Servants and Heralds. Can I put one plug in?
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm involved with a group of guys who are starting something called the Credo Alliance.
Okay.
And what we are trying to do is say, and my children, my grandchildren, my great-grandchildren, what will it mean to be Baptist for them in the future? And so there's some overlap with what I just said about Servants and Heralds. We're hoping to develop a friendly network of churches, pastors, and laymen who say we want to invest ourselves in long-term projects to hand Christianity off to the next generation. And so we've just kind of gotten this rolling, but it's credoalliance.com, credo _alliance on Twitter.
Okay.
Anybody listening to your show is the kind of person we'd love to hear from. So if you're a Credo Baptist, if you're Paedo Baptist, Fight Left Feet is your place. You know what I mean?
That's right.
But if you're looking for Baptists with spines who have a centuries long vision or trying to cultivate one, man, we want to talk to you.
Yeah. No, I appreciate it, brother. This is good.
Yeah, thanks.
It was great seeing you again.
You too, man.
I'm glad we bumped into each other. So
Agreed.
anyway, check out those resources. I'm going to put all those in the description so you can find those as well. And if you're just listening on audio, it's going to be, it'll be in the description also. So again, check out Jeff's work and his team there. What's your church again? Tell me your church.
Midway Baptist.
Midway Baptist in Cookeville, Tennessee.
Yep, that's right. Hey, keep up the good work, man. I appreciate what you're doing.
Likewise. All right, brother. All right. Everybody take care. Have a great day.